Are you tired of going a million miles an hour? Well, do we have some exciting news for you? Today, you can become a channel member. That's right. Join the Samwell B12 experience and get exclusive benefits simply by clicking the join button. Get your custom emojis and more by joining the Samwell B experience today. Thank you. Hit the join button and we'll see you in the streams. Hey, what's up, everybody? That's right. We are back. It's time to turn that clock backwards and let's get retro. It's been far too long. Hope you guys enjoyed that little introduction. I'm so glad, so happy to be back with you today talking retro. Man, I'm so pumped up for this. I hope you guys are too, because we have a great one tonight. So let's see. We got Coach. What's going on? Jess, hello. Not My Circus, Brian K. Brian, I know you've been waiting for this for a long time. John V, how's it going? Dallas, what's up? Sean, hello. Triton, oh man, what a show we have for you guys tonight. Let me make sure I didn't miss anyone. Duke, Road Warriors, what's up? Thanks for coming in. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Jenny Jen, what's going on? Here we go. Man, it is retro time. I'm so pumped. We are talking pop music. So if you haven't been with us before to watch a retro show, this is where we like to go backwards. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We talk about all that was good. We talked about comedy movies. We did a career, life and times of Adam Sandler. We talked about cartoons, video games, toys, horror movies, so much. We talked about rock. But today we're going to explore the era of pop music. And I can't wait to jump right in. And so I'm not going to waste another time. And when talking about pop music, there's only one place to start. Technically, we should go chronologically like we traditionally do through the 70s, 80s, 90s. But it's pop, and there's only one place to start. And that's with my boy, MJ, the king of pop, Michael Jackson. I don't care who you are, where you're from, when you were born, this was the icon who ruled the pop scene. From a little itty bitty boy singing in the Jackson 5 to everything he's done, it has been an unbelievable ride. So let me tell you, I was a huge, huge Michael Jackson fan. I was the kid when everybody in the 80s secretly loved Michael Jackson but wouldn't admit it in public. Like, you, Michael Jackson, we don't like him, but yet everyone's singing the songs. I had the red Beat It zipper jacket at home. We had the sparkly glove. We had it all. But what would be a retro stream without a little show and tell? And no, I am not breaking out the red zippy jacket because that probably wouldn't fit my left foot today. But for those of you who might not remember VHS tapes, I have a VHS tape here. This VHS tape, I'm going to put it back in the case. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Now there's some green on it, so it's not going to show, but this is Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. If you haven't seen this, this was like one of the music videos. It was like a full motion picture movie. And this is where he did Man in the Mirror. He did Speed Demon, Leave Me Alone, Smooth Criminal, Come Together was on here. This was such an epic video. This is where that whole Smooth Criminal element came in. Bucks, what's going on? That's right. I said VHS. And this is what, everyone who loved Michael Jackson, you watch this Smooth Criminal. He walks in the bar, flips the coin in the jukebox, and then boom, it's off and running. It just brought everything together. Steven, what's going on? Welcome in. Oh man, it was so awesome. But even before we had Moonwalker, before we had Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson tore up the charts with this bad boy. No, this isn't just a big picture that I used to hang on my wall. This is an actual record. Ladies and gentlemen, this is vinyl. This is Michael Jackson's Thriller album on record. I still listen to this today. It is absolutely epic. Man, everybody, tastes of music have changed over the decades. It's all changed. CeeLo, what's going on? But when it comes to MJ, you look here, want to be starting something. Gots to be starting something. Everyone loves that song. Man, The Girl Is Mine, Thriller, come on. Thriller was it. Beat It, Billie Jean. Man, Human Nature. I'm sorry. When I hear, I'm getting goosebumps. Can you see? I'm getting goosebumps just talking about Human Nature. When I hear Human Nature come on the radio and I start humming it and singing it, it literally brings tears to my eyes. Pretty Young Thing. Man, this was the best album. Let me tell you, I saw at, I think it was the Air Canada Center, Cirque du Soleil did a special to Michael Jackson. Hey, Suzanne, what's going on? When Cirque did Michael Jackson, they remixed all the songs, and it was so amazing. I have that album, just spectacular. But Michael Jackson, he led the pop wave, man. So I had to kick off tonight's show talking about Michael Jackson because epic. PYT, so classic. Pretty Young Thing. And everyone quotes MJ wherever you go. You hear someone go, hey, or Jamal. Everyone does the Michael Jackson impersonation. Chris Tucker, Rush Hour brought out the Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was everywhere. Oh, Vincent Price. Yes, Jen, Vincent Price. Epic. Oh my gosh. When I go through Haunted Mansion, you could insert Vincent Price's voice in there doing his own overlay. 70s had great nostalgia. 80s, absolute the best decade. You're right. It's so true. It's so true. So I showed you guys the big vinyl. I got some little vinyls too. You remember these little guys? I literally grabbed a stack and I'm like, let's see what we have. And we're going to start going through because pop changed so much. If you go back to the 60s and 70s, pop was so different than what it became. But here I have some of the best. We got Richie Valens. You remember Richie Valens? We got Donna. Oh, Donna. So good. We got Richie Valens. Here we go. Oh, this is the one I was looking for. Talking about Michael Jackson. We got Olivia Newton-John, a little physical. But this is the one right here. Original. Is there a date on here? It's got to be a date. I can't even read. I'm so excited. My eyes are blurry. Let's see. I don't see a date on here. Interesting. This is the Jackson 5, I'll Be There. The Jackson 5. Look at that. This is what people used to listen to. That's right. The 45s. These were the best. These were awesome. And they still sound great today. I know it doesn't come up well because of the green screen. But there we go. Michael Jackson from the Jackson 5, moving all the way up. That's how you open a show. So what I want to do today, there's a few things I want to go over, a few things I want to talk about. We're going to move through the decades. And then I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your stories. I want to know who you listen to. So stay tuned. We're going to have a link dropping in a little bit. I want you guys to come on if you want and tell me who you liked and who you listened to. And I want to hear some of your stories. Oh boy. So here we go. Let's start in the 70s. I'm not going to spend too much time in the 70s, but that's when I was born. And I know Coach lived all through the 70s. A lot of us were born in the 70s. So, pop music, pop was really disco, right? You had the Bee Gees going on, your Ballroom Blitz, and then you had the Jackson 5 coming up, and the Jackson 5 really changed the sound of pop music. You had the Beatles that were more, almost more rock, if you call them rock. They were like that pop rock. You had the Stones that were more rock. And you had, like I said, that disco, Village People, YMCA, huge in the 70s, Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive. These were huge, huge pop music. And you could see that style of pop, right? I didn't spend too much time in the 70s myself. That's right, Brian. When you go to the 90s, potentially talk, oh, you got it. Steven, wait till you see what's coming. Wait till you see, but pop, that whole rock pop, you had Steve Miller in there with the Joker. Come on. Who doesn't go on a road trip or is at a cottage sitting by the water listening to the Steve Miller Band? Like so good. And then, of course, in the 70s, you had Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. Man, we could do a whole episode on Queen itself. And what a great job. Now, of course, the guys, I'm forgetting his name, the singer who stepped in and kind of took over and became the second coming of Queen. What a spectacular job he's done, sounding just like Freddie and doing such an amazing job. Yes, Christina, we are family. John V with Disco Duck. Oh, man, so good. So Adam Lambert, thank you, Christina G. Adam Lambert, so good. What a great job. Jefferson Airship, amazing. Like Don McLean, American Pie, right? Everybody sings that at some point. James Taylor, You Got a Friend, right? And you had Dancing Queen, ABBA. ABBA was huge, crossing that disco into pop era. And then, of course, you had the love side of pop, Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On, Layla, Eric Clapton, like such classics. And Barry Manilow, of course, getting in there. It was just the 70s was a different side. And of course, Elvis. I don't even remember how old I was, Dallas, but probably in and around the same. But that was the 70s. The 70s was great. But where I really want to get into is my favorite decade of music of all time. And that is the 80s. Because the 80s, man, we talked about Michael Jackson already, but the 80s were something else. And I have, as we're going from the 70s into the 80s, other records I got here, a little Rod Stewart. Do you think I'm sexy? This is 1978, even though it's in a disco case, but a little Rod Stewart we got here. Look at these albums. We got Disco Mania. This was, what year was this? Is there a year on this? It's faded. It's rubbed off. But listen, some of these songs, right? Gloria Gaynor, Never Can Say Goodbye. Kung Fu Fighting. Everybody was Kung Fu Fighting. Purple, what's going on? Paul Powers, what's going on? Oh, man, The Police. Yes, Coach. The Police, man. So I'll get into my police story shortly. What else is on here? My God, there's so many. James Brown. Everyone loved James Brown. He was the originator of hey, James Brown. We get into the 80s and you had that rock pop. You got In Excess. Come on, In Excess was awesome. Love In Excess. Here you go. This is what I was waiting for, Coach. Here you go. Here is your Police right here. Here is the Police. This one still has the shrink wrap on it. So good. Some of these songs, you just hear the names and you're like, this is amazing. Don't Stand So Close to Me. Oh, so good. Oh, man, I'm just reading some of these names. So I love the Police. Police were awesome. We used to listen to the Police nonstop. Roxanne, so good. Stevie, what's going on? Yeah, cassette. Oh, I had a million cassettes. B-52s is another one. John V. And of course, here you slow it down, the slower side, Cat Stevens. Yeah, little Cat Stevens. Everybody loves a little Cat Stevens. Wild World. Wild World, one of my favorite songs of all time. Father and Son. Oh my gosh. So good. Here you go. This one, Coach, this is for you. This is for you. I know you listen to little Supertramp. Who didn't like Supertramp? You hear Supertramp come on. This really got you going, got you moving in the groove. Who else we got here? Oh, this is a good one. This is another one of these rock pop albums getting into Chicago. Chicago, just spectacular. What was on this one? So Long, Wishing You Were Here. Chicago was like, they were like the early Bryan Adams, right? Chicago had all those nice songs that were just killer. Let's see, what else we got here? Some compilations. All right, so that's it for the records, man. So good. And then of course, here's the last one. This is, I think, the oldest one I have. Is there a date on this one? Did they not date stuff, or is it just so small that I can't see it? This is what happens when you don't actually look stuff up in advance. Here we go. Little Louis Armstrong. Oh, you can't see it because of the green screen. Little Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong. Man, this was on the sunny side of the street. Yeah, nice. Printing press. So this album was actually printed in Tel Aviv, Israel. That's awesome. Anyways, those are it for the records. But man, so the 80s. The 80s were really known for some big bands. We had, Bon Jovi, a lot of rock, right? The 80s was the hair, it was the rock, but it was also the beginning of the one-hit wonders. Most of those records are so old, they're disappearing on the stream. There you go. They're getting the Back to the Future effect. But yeah, when you get in there, it was really the beginning of the one-hit wonders, or the 2 or 3 hit wonders, because you had some that definitely had some good songs. Yeah, Christina, we're getting right there, and Dallas, Jen, we right there. We're so close to exactly where you're going, so close. But in the 80s, let's jump right there. Of course, the Material Girl herself, Madonna. She was the late 80s into the 90s. Man, Madonna was all that in a bucket of chicken. She really turned the world on its head. You had Michael Jackson, who was ripping it up, and then Madonna came in and said, I'm the bad girl in music. I'm just going to do what I want, when I want, and how I want it. And with her outfits, her outspokenness, the things she did on stage, she just took it to a whole new level. I remember there was a concert in Toronto where they came, and she used to do this whole scene on a bed. We'll leave it at that. And Toronto said, not going to fly. You can't do that here. If you do it, you'll be arrested. And of course, Madonna did Madonna, and she got in a whole lot of trouble for it. But she just took things to a whole nother level. Do you remember the movie Dick Tracy? Dick Tracy starred Madonna. She was but all the music was Madonna. I had the cassette. I listened to that cassette like absolutely crazy. Jonathan, what's going on? That's right. She got banned. And she was not allowed back. It was absolutely crazy. But Madonna took it to another level in the 80s and continued to do so on and on and on. There was another band that really became big, I guess, towards the end of the 80s and into the 90s. And that was U2. U2, yes, they were rock, but they were that pop rock. When they came out with the Desire album, and oh my God, I remember in grade school, I had friends that they actually called themselves Bono and the Edge. When I joined, because I came to the school late, I actually thought those were their real names. That's how I was introduced to them. Hey, this is Bono, this is Edge. I'm like, those are the most bizarre names I've ever heard of, but hey, whatever. And they were just huge U2 guys. And U2 to this day are still kicking it. When you look at the movie Sing 2, right? U2 had a huge part in that movie. So U2 still doing what they did today. Madonna's documentary, Truth or Dare, the whole thing is about and that was such a great documentary. And Madonna, one of her early boyfriends, word to your mother, Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice and Madonna had a little thingity thing. And very interesting story there. But yeah, U2 absolutely killed it. Desire, one of my favorite songs of all time. Absolutely love U2. We'll talk about some of the other big songs from the 80s. Total Eclipse of the Heart. U2 has the Paris concert on HBO. Jonathan, I did not know that. Thank you. I'm going to go and watch that because, man, they're so good. Total Eclipse of the Heart. What a classic song. And if you've heard of a group called the Dan Band, the Dan Band takes a lot of these songs and re-sings them and adds a little cursing in there and whatnot. Absolutely hysterical. They were in The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler. Definitely check out the Dan Band. But yeah, Total Eclipse of the Heart, huge. Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. Oh, come on. What's Love got to do with it? Don't Stop Believin'. Come on. Who today doesn't know that song? My kids are singing Don't Stop Believin'. They have no idea who Journey even was. Let me tell you, a long time ago, I was working for our Canadian Football League team, the Toronto Argonauts, and we were taking a road trip to Hamilton to play the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And we had a huge party bus for the front office staff going down. And we had when Don't Stop Believin' came on, all the side conversations, everything stopped. And everyone just sang word for word. And man, that song today, still, if you hear it wherever you are, you literally stop what you're doing and start singing along. Of course, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, a banger that's just going today. Here's another one, Africa by Toto. Africa, still ripping it up today. We were at Universal Studios eating at Hard Rock, and Africa came on, and the wife and the kid were breaking out, singing along with it. And you can see that short. It's on the channel. So good. And then, of course, you have, Salt and Pepper kicking it up with Push It. Huge. Duran Duran. Oh, my gosh. Duran Duran. Let me tell you. Okay, I got to pause here to talk about Duran Duran. Duran Duran was one of the first rock bands I ever really got into. Duran Duran, when I heard Rio and The Reflex and New Moon at Monday and Wild Boys and Girls on Film and blah, 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 blah. It keeps going and going. I absolutely lost my mind. I've had the privilege of seeing Duran Duran play live several times now. The first time was at Canada's Wonderland at Kingswood Theatre, where my band actually played several years later. But Duran Duran, we were at my grandparents' house. My cousins and I, we were hanging out. My grandparents were having a garage sale. So we took their dining room set, all the chairs. We took it to the family room, took the couches apart, and we built our own big, boat, a ship, a sailboat. And we reenacted that video to Rio a million times. I remember I saw them at the Air Canada Center here where the Leafs and the Raptors play. We were in a box with a bunch of work people, and Rio came on. And when that saxophone solo came out, the thumb went in the mouth, and we got right in it, doing the full air sax solo. Just amazing. Duran Duran always takes it to a whole other level. Isn't it some sort of anniversary for Duran Duran? Wouldn't surprise me, John. I feel like they've been around forever. Simon, he can't dance, but he can still sing like there's no tomorrow. Death's Greatest Kid, what's up? Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. And thanks, if I've missed you, thanks for joining us. Morgan, how's it going? Welcome in. Again, I apologize if I missed you coming in. I'm having so much fun talking about all this old music that I just get so swept up and carried away. But if you're coming in, make sure to hit that like. We appreciate it. Duran Duran's Union of the Snake album is amazing. It so is. Duran Duran, they're one of those that I could just put it on and listen to it all night long. And by the way, can I just say, we got to stop. I want to properly welcome in Explorer Jen with our partner channel, the FPE Network, Florida Park Explorers. They are amazing, and Jen is absolutely killing it in the parks. I know a lot of you here today are huge Disney fans as well. So definitely, mods, if we can get the FPE link and drop it in there. They are in the park. Jen is in the park all the time, killing it. Fireworks, rides. Yes, she does rides. Personal shopping. If you see stuff in the stores and you want it, you can connect with her on Instagram and place an order. I'm sure she'll be happy to pick it up for you. Earth Citizen, what's going on? Welcome in. So Jen, welcome in, and yeah, keep killing it. All right, back to the 80s. Karma Chameleon. Come on, Chameleon. Man, best song. I know you guys all dance along with that. I certainly do. And every time the harmonica would come in, see if I can do it. Now I can't do it now because I'm so pumped up. The harmonica solo comes in, and I always get the hands up. I try and do like my own harmonica and play along with the solo. Oh, it's so awesome. So awesome. And then when you go from Karma Chameleon and Duran Duran, now we're talking a little bit more on the rock side. You got Van Halen. I know I saw somebody put it earlier in the chat. Van Halen, man, Jump. For if you take all other Van Halen songs away, which we know is never going to happen because there's too many good ones there. Dean, what's going on? 30. Oh, man, 30. All right, we got to do some dancing. We'll do some dancing in a moment. But yeah, Jump, any sporting event you go to, they play Jump. Jump is everywhere. That beginning keyboard, oh, it's so good. Van Halen was such an iconic band, regardless of who was singing. My personal preference with the Sammy Hagar years, I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but so good. All right, let me keep going through the 80s here, and then we'll do some dancing. Come On Eileen, a huge one. Tainted Love, Walk Like an Egyptian. Like, when you hear these songs, you just go nuts. Spin Me Around. Oh, man, awesome. Like, just brings back so much memories just thinking of these songs. But here's one. Here is one. This artist, do I have him? I do have him here. This artist, he was popular back in the day, but is even more popular today. And he's become popular because people use him to play jokes on people. Yes, Brian K. The Bengals, awesome. But you know who it is? Here it is. A little Rick Ashley. You all got Rick rolled. It's Rick Ashley. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna get do. Turn around. Do. I love little Rick Ashley. I'm not actually gonna properly sing it because it's terrible. But man, Rick Ashley today is probably more popular than he ever was back in the day. Man, this guy's got his own Fortnite emoji going, or not emoji, emoticon going on. Rick Ashley absolutely tearing it up in the 80s and is huge today. He's been appearing at live shows with bands on stage to sing his song. He's done like hard rock versions, everything. Rick Ashley tearing it up. And of course, I know this is a little bit more into the movie side, but Footloose, I mean, let's hear it for the boy. Footloose, oh, so good. We keep going and going. And then, of course, when we get towards, the late 80s, man, there's only one band that really brought the 80s to a close. I don't think I have a little icon for them. That was New Kids on the Block. I know they were in the opening, but New Kids on the Block, this was really the start. New Kids and Boys to Men really kind of helped bring the boy bands to the next level. And that kind of is the 80s. But I thought what would be cool is talking about some of the best songs. Now, this is Glamour Magazine. Glamour Magazine kind of has their list of the best songs of the 80s. And it's crazy because they go Stevie Wonder first with Master Blaster, Super Trooper by ABBA, number 2. This is all kind of early 80s. Journey, Don't Stop Believin' was number 4. They had Hall & Oates in there. I Love Rock and Roll. Come On Eileen, we talked about. So there's so many good songs, but I actually wasn't a huge fan of their list. So I like the list by, who's this? I found this list by Time Out website. Their list, number 1, Purple Rain by Prince. Prince was absolutely insane. That's true. Milli Vanilli was a boy band, but would you consider them a singing band or more just a dancing band? New Kids on the Block playing with Salt and Pepper at Air Canada Center past weekend. Tickets were low as $25. That's amazing. That is very, very cool. I saw New Kids. So when New Kids came with Backstreet Boys, we went to see the NKOT BSB tour. It was stellar. It was absolutely amazing. When you talk about Purple Rain by Prince, number 1, Beat It, Michael Jackson, number 2, I Want to Dance with Somebody, a Little Whitney. Then we got Little Outside of Pop, but Straight Outta Compton by NWA. Fight the Power by Public Enemy. Express Yourself by Madonna. David Bowie, Modern Love. The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Like crazy songs. And that was the 80s. The 80s was absolutely something else. But now let's Let's speed it up a little bit. Yes, Dallas, man, I used to listen to that song all the time. But the 90s was something of a whole new era because you still had the greats like MJ and Madonna and New Kids doing their thing. But now we're getting into Ace of Base. I saw the sign and it opened up my eye. I'm terrible at singing, but yeah, the sign. Torn, Natalie Imbruglia. We had Destiny's Child coming into the mix. Waterfalls, TLC, man, No Scrubs. I Swear by All for One. Monica and Brandy stepping up in the 90s. Hanson with Mbop. You know, you have Ricky Martin, Living La Vida Loca. Will Smith. Will Smith, did his thing in the late 80s, coming in the 90s with getting jiggy with it. Of course, you had Celine Dion blowing up. Boyz II Men. Alanis Morissette. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you a little bit about Alanis. Yes, coach. 8675309. Maria, what's going on? KRS is going to rock you. Oh, man. I Got the Power by Snap. So many good songs. Amy Grant, Love Fool, the Cardigans. But let me tell you, Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You. So good. But let me tell you about Alanis. So way back in the day, I was working at a day camp and Jagged Little Pill drops. This album comes out. And this, at the time, was the album of all albums. Almost every single song on that album was a banger. Just an anthem. You listen to it like crazy. I went to a festival. I hate festivals. My friend dragged me up to Barrie. We went to Barrie to see a festival. Hey, Corey, what's going on? And it was Alanis Morissette was headlining it. You had Our Lady Peace was there. You had Wild Strawberry there. But Alanis was just absolutely incredible. She was just in Toronto a couple nights ago, performed a show, and it was still absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. You had No Doubt, Gwen Stefani, No Doubt taking off with Don't Speak. What Is Love by Hathaway. So many great tunes. Cher getting in there. Semi-Charmed Life, Third Eye Blind. Like, it's hard to believe these were songs in the 90s. Snow, yes. He was the first one to put Toronto on the map. That's right. Informer, so blah, 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 bam. I like your boom, boom, down. Love a little Snow. So good. How Bizarre, OMC, CNC Music Factory. Oh, man, CNC Music Factory, amazing. Crush by Jennifer Page. Remember, Friends, the Rembrandts, I'll Be There For You. Totally classic 90s songs. But yeah, CNC Music Factory, that one got me going. S Club 7, S Club. I love little S Club party. You had Savage Garden in there. I was a huge Savage Garden fan. Absolutely killer. But where I want to go, Aqua, Barbie Girl, Aqua, huge. But where I want to go, and I do a little dance. So let's just get out of the way. Little dance for 30 likes, celebrating 30 likes. So there we go. Little 30 like shimmy. Okay. Whew. So where I want to go in the 90s is really three bands in particular, and they were all friends or competitions. Let's kick it off with a little NSYNC. NSYNC comes in, and they absolutely tore up the boy band scene. They absolutely went crazy. You had New Kids. This was the modern age New Kids. They came in, some of their early stuff was crazy. Everybody knows Tearing Up My Heart. Bye. They were just so good. But you were either an NSYNC fan or you were a Backstreet Boys fan. You couldn't be both. This was like being a Maple Leaf fan or a Montreal Canadiens fan or a Yankees fan or a Red Sox fan. You couldn't like both. You had to be one or the other. I was a Backstreet Boy fan. Dina B, she was an NSYNC fan. She kind of crossed the streams a little bit, but I was a huge Backstreet Boy fan. I loved everything they did. All their early albums was so good. I used to DJ at weddings and bar mitzvahs and private parties and whatnot back in the day. And we did a whole shtick to Backstreet Boys. My partner and I, we actually, when we played Backstreet's Back, we would jump out in front and we did the whole Backstreet's Back Dance. We sang some of their songs. We sang along with it. Like Backstreet Boys was just amazing. Absolutely, absolutely killed it. So we had NSYNC, we had the Backstreet Boys, and of course you had Boys to Men. Boys to Men, actually, that tour that I mentioned earlier with Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, I think it was, or Backstreet Boys and New Kids, it was Boys to Men that opened up for it. And that was such an unbelievable show. It was a very, very cool time to enjoy music. And so you had these guys ripping it up. And of course, let's not forget about REM. We had REM in there doing their thing. Jennifer Lopez, Lauryn Hill, Sir Mix-a-Lot. Everyone loves Sir Mix-a-Lot. So good. And if we go and we pull like the best by Elle Magazine, I'm going to actually skip number one because that is what I want to talk about soon. And we talked about Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. We need to talk about the Spice Girls. The Spice Girls were huge. Sam Dina personifying Paula Abdul's opposite attract. Yes, Paula Abdul, man, she killed it. That her song Rush. Oh, I love that song. But the Spice Girls were where it was at. Maria, you remember Moist? Oh, they were so good. So good. Moist and the Goo Goo Dolls. Oh, so I can't talk about Silverchair. And I'll tell you why. And it's funny going from Spice Girls to Moist and Silverchair. So I had a band and we tried real hard. Jimmy quit. Jody got married. Should have known we'd never get far. Sorry, little Bryan Adams. So when we talk about Silverchair, my band, we performed on this TV show. If you're from the Toronto area, it was called Jono-Vision. The video is actually on our YouTube channel. Check it out. We played a couple songs. And when we finished our first song, we got a standing ovation. And when they were talking to people in the crowd, they said, one of the guys stood up and said, "You guys are awesome. You sound a lot like Silverchair." And I hated Silverchair back in the day. I don't know why. They just bothered me so much. And then being compared to Silverchair, I was like, oh no. I Mother Earth, yeah, they were great. Chili Peppers were great. Oh, Bush was so good. Lightning Crashes, come on. You could listen to that song all day long. But yeah, Spice Girls came in the scene and they really tore it up. They come in with Wannabe and people didn't know what on earth to think. And they were amazing. You know, they had a very short-lived career. When they came back in, was it the London Olympics? I think it was the closing ceremonies. And they performed like the world went bananas. The Spice Girls were back. But they never did go on that big tour that they were supposed to. I gotta be me. What's up? FPE Dave, how's it going? Welcome in. Poison, Belle Biv DeVoe. Come on. Poison was such a classic. Creep by TLC. Waterfalls by TLC. Oh, Selena. Yes. Dee, are you here? I'm here. Dee was obsessed with Selena. Absolutely loved Selena. And a good movie. Counting Crows. Yes. Mr. Jones. Wait. No. Yes. There's Mr. Jones and Dr. Jones. Yeah. One is rock. One is dance. And the Black Crowes, Hard to Handle. So many good songs. Real Love by Mary J. Blige. No Diggity. California Love. Man, there's such good songs. Livin' La Vida Loca, we talked about. Color Me Bad. Oh, let me tell you, Color Me Bad. I Want to Sex You Up. You guys remember that song? Ooh. Tick-tock, get up. Stop to the tick-tock, get up. Stop. Man, love that song. I was at a trailer park and we went to the main kind of, I don't know what you call it. It's not really the main office, but the main kind of building. They had pool tables and some pinball machines and stuff. And they had just got a jukebox. And we went in and they just got it in and they had this Color Me Bad song on there. And like the kids that were there just kept popping in the quarters and playing it over and over and over. But it was such a good song. Yeah, Jonathan, Avril Lavigne. Avril was awesome. And Avril making a comeback recently, getting it done. I forget the name of that song now. Oh my God. You know, with the swing, bada, 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 swing. Come, baby, come. Yeah, that's another huge song. I mean, I know it's crossing into, different genres a little bit, but so good. Like just talking about these songs bring back so many good memories. Of course, Shania Twain, huge in the 90s. If you're Canadian, Shania Twain absolutely was insane. All Saints, the Cranberries, Linger and Zombie, huge songs. Love Fools by the Cardigans. Genie in a Bottle. That's where Christina Aguilera coming on the scene with Genie in a Bottle. Man, she was really, really awesome. And that video was like borderline inappropriate at the time. Just crazy. Sugar Ray, yes. Sugar Ray coming in. I Want It That Way. Backstreet Boys, we kind of talked about them. Man, there's so many great songs. Am I missing? Oh, yeah. But where I wanted to kind of finish the 90s, and then I'm gonna invite you guys to come on and join me if you'd like. There's only one person you could finish off the 90s with. Oh my God, yes, Dave, Edward McCain, All B. Oh my gosh, I can't sing a lick, and I belt that song out every time it comes on. And oh my gosh, Maria, Joey Lawrence, I hope you're not listening to his music career because and oh, how can I forget? We talk about, you reminded me with Edmund McCain, Sheriff, When I'm With You. Yes. Sheriff. Let me tell you, so Dee and I love When I'm With You. I can't even think of how it goes now because I have so many songs in my head. How does it go, Dee? I'm not sing it for she won't sing it for me. Lost in Love. Da-da-da-da. Ooh. Oh my God. Anyways, Sheriff. Yeah, baby. My world stands still when I'm with you. Ooh, come on. Love that song. We were at a wedding, or was it a bar mitzvah, whatever it was, and we asked the DJ, hey, can you play When I'm With You by Sheriff? And he looked at us cross-eyed and said, what? My God. Yes, Mr. Big. Mr. Big. Awesome. Oh man, so many good songs. But the only way I can finish off the 90s before I invite you guys to come on and join me is talking about the one and only Miss Britney Spears. Now, Britney Spears absolutely tore up. We had Christina Aguilera who came in, and then Britney said, I'm here now. Hit Me Baby One More Time was such an explosion onto the screen. The video was huge. The song was incredible. She just had everything. And I know she had kind of the Disney Club background with Timberlake and some others. But Britney came on and just from her first album just went gangbusters. Now, she ran into a little bit of problems as she got older, but Britney Spears absolutely loved it. Britney is too toxic. Nice one, Jen. Nice one. But absolutely loved Britney. She was so much fun to watch her career and listen to her music. Even the ones she did later on, like, what was it? Break the Ice. And I don't even know the names of the songs. When the World Ends or World Turns. They were still great songs. They were great dance songs, but her first albums, her early stuff was just absolutely incredible. So I've been talking for a long time about all this music from the 80s, the 90s. What I want to do, if you want, I'm going to post a link in the chat, and I'm going to invite you to come in and join me. Now, because of the screen setup, it might be a little fuzzy, but I'm going to invite you to come tell me about who you liked and some of your memories of your songs. And the only thing I ask is that you please be 18 years of age or older. And when you come on, I'm happy to have any conversation, but please, no bad language, keep it family friendly, and don't make me regret doing this. So I'm going to post it in the chat. I will pin it as a pinned message. So what I'll do is you can come on, you can spend a few minutes and give us your stories, your memories, the songs you love to listen to, and we'd be happy to talk about it because there's so much more in the 80s or 90s. We just scratched the surface. For example, Spin Doctors. Spin Doctors were a perfect example of that rock pop type of flavor. and we totally, I loved it. So the good thing with a lot of this type of music is it just makes you feel good, right? It gets you there, and everyone remembers, I went to this small amphitheater, or I went to this little place. Look, they had up here a couple, I think they do it this past year, in like this huge parking lot. They had all the bands like Aqua and S Club and all these old bands, that the mixtape throwback tour that comes through was just absolutely insane. LFO, yes. What was that? Girls of this, what is it? Oh my gosh. I have like these songs in my head and I can't even think of the titles. That's how crazy it is. But yeah, the 80s started the one-hit wonders. The 90s absolutely killed them. And of course, the one big one to talk about, which I haven't talked about at all yet, Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice, word to your mother. Man, he was absolutely incredible. When Vanilla Ice came in, everybody was singing Ice Ice Baby. And to this day, listen, I went to a Raptor game and he was there at halftime singing Ice Ice Baby. He's got his own show now, doing home renos in Florida. It's absolutely incredible. Oh, here's our first guest going to join us. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for the first time on our stream, Maria. How's it going?
Hi. Oh my God, I look hideous, but it's okay.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, thanks for being the first to come on tonight.
Oh, not a problem. You had me at LFO. I have to share a story very quickly with LFO.
Go for it.
So they were in Toronto. I forgot where it was. Someplace in Toronto. So I went. I was young. I was like 17, 18 years old. And I see them. So I'm like starstruck. I'm like, oh my God, I see them right in front of me. So the security wouldn't let me go towards them. They're like, sorry, we can't let you go. And the member at that time, Rich Cronin, he just looks at me. He's like, I'm sorry. But previously I had written him a fan letter and I handed it to him. And back in the day, we used to fold them up like, what do you call it? Origami or something.
Yep.
So I folded it up and I see him unfolding it and he reads it. But I didn't have a cell phone at that time because we were so young. There was no cell phones, right?
I don't even think there was internet back then.
No, like dialed up. But so I left my house number. So I'm like, please call me. I would appreciate it. Da, 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 da. I'm so happy. Literally, as I'm at the show, they called my house. And they go, this is Brad.
Oh no, we lost Maria. All right, hopefully she can come back in. I guess she lost her signal, but that was awesome. So she sends a fan letter. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's what we did back in the day. There was no Twitter, there was no email. We had to send actual letters. And here we go. All right, so they got the letter. You're at the show, and they call your house.
So he calls me, and he's like, it was Brad Fischetti, the guy from the group. He's like, hey, Maria, this is Brad, and Rich calling from LFO. Sorry we missed you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe I missed it. But it was honestly LFO. As much as I loved NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, I have to give it to LFO. They were great, like just amazing towards me and like everybody that we were there. They were just awesome. And you need to go on YouTube and you need to type in Rich Cronin and what's that guy's name? Howard Stern. Okay. There's a whole interview about what their manager did to them. So we all laugh at Britney and all that stuff, but there's a reason why she did it. So if you watch the video, you'll understand a lot more. So I don't blame Britney or anybody because I would have gone cuckoo too.
Yeah, and I don't think Justin Timberlake or Donnie Wahlberg are calling people at their house to thank them for being a fan.
No.
That's awesome. Do you remember the group from back in the day before 4?
Yes, I actually. Oh God.
Uh-oh.
So I used to go to a high school, and across the high school was actually where they used to live. So my cousin, me, and some other girl, we decided to go knocking on every door.
Okay, hang on. Is this high school in like the Thornhill area?
Yeah, it was very close.
Okay, so I wonder, let's talk offline. I wonder if it's the same high school I'm thinking of.
Okay. It wasn't in Thornhill though.
Okay.
It wasn't in Thornhill,
Okay.
but it was close to it.
Okay.
But we ended up knocking on every door, and we actually got this lady open up the door. She's like, yeah, they're my sons, like the twins. And we actually got to talk to them on the phone too.
So I used to do stuff like that too. I'm a huge hockey fan, newsflash, spoiler alert, in case you didn't know. So I used to go through the phone book and I'd look up hockey players' names and I'd start calling numbers to see if I could actually get the, somebody's.
We did that too. My cousin and I, we literally sat with the phone book and we searched every house in Florida. There was a boy band called Take Five.
Yeah.
So we called every house, and I was a huge fan of Stevie, that guy Stevie in the band. So I go to the lady, I'm like, hey, can we speak to Stevie? And she goes, well, I'm sorry, but the only Stevie that we have here is our cat.
Nice.
So we called every house we could, like nice. Every Latrell, every like Timberlake, every whatever we found, we called in Florida. It was so embarrassing, but we did it.
That's funny. Dina thinks she may have been in that same area because she was also near kind of where those guys were. So before they really made it, I had friends that were dating, if you will, back then. So I remember we were going to the Pickle Barrel on Leslie Street for dinner, and they wouldn't come in the restaurant to wait in line for a table. And this is before they were anything, right? So we went in to get a table. And then once we got our table and we were seated, somebody went out to the car, got them and walked them in so they could come and sit so they wouldn't wait in line. And that's
hilarious.
When they started reaching some fame and getting there, I'm like, that's all I could think about was these guys didn't want to wait in line for a table.
That's hilarious. But they came and went. You never really heard of them ever again, Yeah. But it was good. And Snow, actually, I was a huge fan of Snow from back in the 90s. And there's a lot like going on right now on YouTube or his interview and what happened and where the song came from. So it's kind of cool listening. You're like, oh, wow, this whole time I've been listening to the song and it's about something that's like, I don't want to say it on here, but it's like, whoa.
Yeah, that's a good point because I actually don't know the story behind him. And he was one of those, he came and he kind of fizzled out. And then all of a sudden he was like a reporter for Z103 or like some radio station.
Oh,
I was like, is that the same Snow? And then it was. But
I didn't know that. Yeah, no, that's cool. Snow was cool. Snow was all right.
Yeah. What about since we're going kind of Canadian? Do you ever listen to Maestro Fresh West?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, Let Your Backbone Slide.
Oh yeah. Let Your Backbone Slide.
There you go.
Oh my God, I didn't know they were Canadian.
Yeah, he's from he does all kinds of stuff with Toronto. I think he even did a video where Toronto was his video. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, we grew up in some good times.
Kim Mitchell? You ever listen to Kim Mitchell? Might as well go for a soda.
Nah, I have no idea what that is.
All right, he's another kind of Canadian, Toronto-based kind of rock star. He used to play out front of Rogers Center, or I should say Skydome. They would always get him to come and do his little show out front.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, we went to every show, every Backstreet Boy, every NSYNC, everything you could ever imagine. I even saw Ja Rule at Wonderland years ago with Charlie Baltimore. Like, it was the coolest thing.
Wonderland was the best. It was like, if you had a season's pass, it was like $12 a ticket.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I saw Janet Jackson there. Jackson at Wonderland. And I'm like 90% sure it was TLC that opened up for her.
Oh, that's amazing.
So cool.
I miss those days. Like, I miss everything. I'll be 40 years old tomorrow. So I'm definitely reminiscing, like, where did time go?
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Let's everyone in the chat give some happy birthdays to Maria for tomorrow.
I'm going to cry.
No, it's 40s are the new 30s.
I think so. The number one song back in 82 in July was Eye of the Tiger from Survivor. So that's another good one.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
number one on my birthday. So
I don't even know what was number one on my birthday. Now you have me
Google it.
curious.
You'll find
I'm gonna
out.
look right now. Number one song.
Rising up, back on the street.
Here we go. The number one song on my birthday was, what is this? I don't know this song. Best of My Love by The Emotions.
Oh, I have no idea.
Can I pick a different song?
Sure.
Oh gosh. Well, in the UK, if we go with UK songs, it was Way Down by Elvis Presley.
Oh, that's good. Oh, wow. You're just
The number-
definitely showing your age there, bud.
Yeah. Oh, the number one R&B song was Keep It Comin' Love by Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Oh, wow.
And the number one dance track, it just says Village People. It doesn't even list the name of the song.
That's
boy.
hilarious. Yeah,
Awesome.
I think so.
Well, thank you for coming on, and this was awesome. Being the first. If you
Not a
want to
problem.
get in the chat, if you want to come in and say hello, click the link in the pinned message. Come and tell us your 80s and 90s music stories. We'd love to hear it. Any big shows coming up in the near future that you have your eye set on you'd like to go to? I know things are a little crazy right now.
I would love to see Justin Bieber. He's one person I definitely want to check out because I love the guy. I love Justin. But his tickets are ridiculous though. $400, $500. No,
Oh my gosh.
it's ridiculous. But he's definitely someone I want to check out. I missed the Backstreet Boys when I was working. I didn't even know that they were in Toronto. They came back here.
Yeah,
Like,
and you see Drake came out and performed with them.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Drake's all right.
Yeah, he just likes showing up with everybody to.
Well, apparently someone tried robbing his house yesterday. It was on Instagram.
Oh, really?
I think it was the 18th, and they caught him, and he lied and said that he was Drake's son. But people are crazy.
Yeah. I'm Drake's son. I forgot my keys.
I know, but the kid was like 23 years old. Drake's like what, 36?
Yeah.
So unless if Drake had him at 13, okay.
You never know. What goes on in Degrassi stays in Degrassi.
I know. Oh God. Yeah. Degrassi.
Well, that's cool. I hope you get to Justin one time. The one concert I always wanted to go to was Michael Jackson. Never had the chance. When he came, I think, was it 85 when he came? I was too young to go. And then when he was going to do those tours in the UK, a couple friends were saying, hey, we should go see them. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
But, that was the one
bad.
that got away.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I've seen enough big shows, to last me a little while, so I can let that one slide.
Yeah, no, let your backbone splash.
Now it's gonna be stuck in your head.
Be stuck. I'm gonna download it.
Nice. Oh, we lost Maria again, but that's okay. Talking about let your backbone slide. We also have crisscross. We haven't talked about crisscross at all. Jump, the Daddy Mac will make you jump. Crisscross was awesome. Again, breaking down barriers, doing new things. Crisscross coming in. So I posted the link one more time. If anybody else wants to jump in, we're going to start to wrap it up momentarily. I try to keep these shows to about an hour, but I'd love to have anybody jump in that wants to jump in. Tell us your 80s or 90s kind of musical stories. We'd love to hear it. No worries, Maria. No worries. They did, Jen. They wore their clothes backwards. They were crazy. I think there was a really sad story. I think one of them unfortunately passed. I don't remember which one is which, but I heard that just recently. So a little bit of a sad story there for crisscross. And I think it was Jonathan put in the chat earlier, House of Pain with Jump Around. House of Pain brought it to a whole other level. Was absolutely insane. Someone is coming in from the south. Hope they don't take too long or have trouble crossing the border. Am I going to need to get my beret to defend myself? Oh gosh. Whew. But yeah, so those are a lot of my crazy stories. Get your beret ready. Uh-oh. It's buried under all these records. But yeah, I absolutely love the 80s and 90s. I've had so much fun, going to concerts back in the day, whether it's guys like Bruce Springsteen, in the 90s, Stone Temple Pilots, Lenny Kravitz, Blind Melon, Meatloaf. I put him in the opening, but I got to talk about Meatloaf. Meatloaf was one of those bands. I mean, he spawned so many decades. Meatloaf was just absolutely incredible. And to be honest, it was one of my favorite concerts of all time. Absolutely loved Meatloaf. If you're coming in, Gator, what's going on? Sammy Hagar losing power when open for the Boston at Capitol Center. Oh, that's crazy. That's wild. Uh-oh, here we go. DJ Jazzy Dave coming in. What's going on?
You make me want to jump.
How's it going?
What up, everybody? We back in the 80s, yo. We're going to kick it old school style, wrapping up in the 80s, 90s, and beyond. What's up?
Flavor Flav.
Whoop, whoop. I got the clock around my neck, except it says FPE, yo.
The FPE clock.
That's right.
Oh, Sticks. Who just put that in there? Did I see Sticks? No, I think Suzanne, you wrote Gen X, and I read it as Sticks. See where my mind is going? So who is your big 80s, 90s musical preference?
Right. So here's the problem. The problem is I love almost all music, but I was a metalhead.
Yeah.
So like when we're talking 80s, 90s, we're talking Metallica, we're talking Pantera, we're talking about Megadeth. We're talking about things where it goes, yeah. Like that's where we are. We're at a different place. I had older brothers who were all like headbangers. Like if you can imagine the Bear Shark with hair that went halfway down my back, I used to have long hair. And like, but dude, you're talking about the best music on the planet was gangster rap, was heavy metal, and then of course, you're talking about the era in which I dated. So love ballads like Firehouse and Mr. Big, like To Be With You, and
love that song.
Edwin McCain. You got Hootie and the Blowfish.
How did I not even think about Hootie? Hootie was just
like you can't beat that. Now, what's funny is Hootie and the Blowfish actually originated where I grew up down in the South. So, like, when we moved out of the North, they used to come into the clubs before anyone knew who Darius was. They came straight out of Colombia, and they would come down to the coast on the weekends, and they would play in bars. So it was kind of crazy. I need to bring up a chat because I just realized I don't have a chat up.
Hey, Eleanor, what's going on? Brian, how's it going? Man, Hootie. So at the end of my street, there's a neighborhood crossing guard for the school around the corner. And he is Darius Rucker. Every morning we drive out to take the kids to school. My window is closed and I always go, Hootie, as we drive by. And I know one day I'm going to have that window down and I'm going to get in a whole heap load of trouble.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Anybody who is offended by being called Hootie and the Blowfish, something wrong with you. I mean, that was just iconic back in the day. It was fun.
His name is Darius. His name is not
His
Hootie.
name is Hootie.
His name is Darius.
His name is not Darius. I've met the man, and I'm going to tell you right now, I walked up to him before anybody knows, and I was like, Hootie, and he'll turn right around and look right at you. He doesn't care because at the end of the day, he's happy anybody knows who he is.
Yep. And right along with Hootie and the Blowfish, I think same time era was Crash Test Dummies.
Oh, dude, you're talking Superman.
Yeah.
Superman never made any money. I love that song, dude.
The guy makes $1 billion humming a song.
You sat there and you said you were talking about Spin Doctors. As soon as you said it, I was like, 1, 2, Princess kneel before you. I'm like, let's go, baby. I'm like, don't make me get my guitar out. I was like, I'll start breaking it down.
So, when I saw the Rolling Stones at Skydome, which is where the Blue Jays played, now called the Rogers Center, but it will forever be Skydome. And Spin Doctors opened up for the Rolling Stones. It was the most bizarre pairing, but man,
That's a weird combo.
Town and Crows opened when I saw them.
Counting Crows. Oh, Counting Crows is so good too.
But I mean, you had like Smashing Pumpkins. You had
oh yes, today that ice cream truck. that song will always be. And what's his face? Billy Corgan, huge wrestling fan. You know, had his own promotion for a while. Mix it up. I think he's with is he Impact Wrestling? He partially owns now. I don't even know. It's been turned over in legal battles so many times. But yeah, Billy, huge wrestling fan and fantastic musician.
But the thing is the music back when you're talking about, when we're talking retro, 80s, 90s, I could sit on here with you for 2 hours and break down every single band that was influential and what songs came out. I mean, we haven't even talked about GNR.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Welcome to the Jungle. We didn't talk about what the implications of any of these songs meant. The fact that you're in 7th and 8th grade headbanging to a guy talking about shooting up and all kinds of weird stuff. Like, we didn't think about it. We didn't care. We were kids. We were having fun.
Yeah, no, I had my yellow Sony Walkman with my Appetite for Destruction tape in it, walking to school, just going nuts.
It goes to a song that is in our recent past, which was, when they're singing about, we were young and wild and free. And what they're talking about is a different era. We were, it's always like, I feel like the old man with a beard and a cane. I'm about to hit it on the table and go, it was a different time. But it really was. It was like the 80s were totally different. It led to the grunge of Nirvana. When Nirvana came out that first night on MTV, and we were all sitting around and it's world premiere time. And out comes Smells Like Teen Spirit, and it's when the lights are out. And everyone's like, what the hell is this? And Pearl Jam came out, and all of a sudden we're in the grunge.
Yeah.
And everybody's wearing flannel, and it's 7,000 degrees out. And it's like,
we tied it to the week.
Totally changed it. If we have somebody else who wants to get in the conversation with it. No, stick around. This person, I'm not familiar with the name. So let's see. First time to the stream. Welcome in, JC. How's it going? Welcome in. So what's your name in the chat?
What up, JC in the
Big
house?
shiny tunes. Nice. Big shiny tunes. So
I was looking for the Crash Test Dummy CD, but it's somewhere in my pile. I actually have that CD.
Love that
nice.
CD.
So nice to meet you. What's your name in the chat?
Jonathan Chong.
Oh, Jonathan. Right, JC, Jonathan Chong.
Well, this hat came from Bear Shark.
There you go. Hi, my name is Sam. I'm new.
He's got the Have Anyone from us. That's fantastic.
So, you talked about a lot of bands and stuff, but one thing you haven't talked about, and I doubt that it was going to happen, was this one.
Oh, Great Big Sea.
I'm a huge fan of them, so I have like a whole bunch of collections and stuff of them, but that's one thing that probably the most concerts I've ever gone to was them.
Huge. Wow. I've never actually seen them live. And they're
not live anymore because they all did their own things now. They're
right.
gone, done other things. I have a whole list of stuff. Like my dad has a bunch of records and he gave some away. And he's like, do you want any? And I took like most of them. And he didn't give all of them away. He had Huey Lewis, and on his record album is an actual backstage pass that belonged to him. We're going to see Huey Lewis. I want it when he gives it away. I want it, but he's not ready to give it up yet. Yeah. But he gave up this, which you guys didn't mention, right?
One of my favorite albums.
This is just a regular album, right?
Yeah.
Along with this, and the stuff is to take whatever you want. He had this.
Oh wow!
It has the actual.
Wow!
And not only that, it was purchased at Sam the Record Man.
Not related.
Sam Goody got it.
So I have a bunch of like old school stuff just from my dad and stuff, but he hasn't unleashed all of it. He has Top Gun album, and it's like he won't give that to me yet. I'm trying to take that off of him. Nope, he's not ready.
Def Leppard Hysteria, one of my favorite albums. I would listen to that on cassette, going to bed every night. And every night I'd put it on. I'd be awake for all of side A, and then it would auto flip to side B. And as soon as it kicked in, boom, I was out.
So here's the question I have for you, because obviously Jonathan's got the records. You had the tapes. I had, a mixture of both. Did you have the most expensive tape repair kit known to man, known as a number 2 pencil?
Oh yeah.
I still have my tapes at my mother. They're not here. They're up the street at my mother's. I have tapes of Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer, House of Pain, Crisscross. They're still there. They're just put away.
Nice.
So let's ask the question. The first time you saw those kids from Crisscross come out, their jerseys are on backwards, pants are on backwards, and you hear them. Tell me you weren't getting off your couch, just literally jumping around your house. Like,
It's the music. I did it.
And hang on.
I was dancing to the music before I knew they were dressing backwards, and then I realized I'm like, okay, let's dress backwards in front of a TV or something.
Hang on.
All right,
Pierce, welcome in. And Pierce joining the member squad. Thank you, Pierce, very much coming in as a new member. Appreciate
You guys in the States had MTV. We had Much Music, hence the Big Shiny Tunes, Much Music stuff. So when Much Music used to play all the music videos and they didn't just repeat like only four of them like MTV did, I would record them in VHS, and I still have a VHS full of recordings of old school videos. I've also got a cassette tape where I recorded off the radio back in the 80s.
yeah. See,
If you
wanted a mixtape back then, you had to wait on a top 40 hit on Saturday, or you had to wait for it to come on MTV, and if somebody walked in the room and talked, it was ruined.
Yeah.
And you had to wait all over again.
If you wanted to copy from someone else's tape, you needed two radios. You'd put them side by side.
Microphone. Yeah.
And then the phone would ring, and you'd be like, oh, rats.
I tried to explain to my daughters about downloading music, how we used to do it, and they were like, what are you people, dinosaurs? I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Shara, good evening. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us as we're diving back into the day.
Well, I was born in 1980, so most of this, I've gone through basically all of it. Even if I was too young at the time, it still played to the late 80s, right? For most of that stuff before they moved on to the 90s. So
sure.
I've heard it all on the radio, just driving.
Well, if you notice, I'm the one with the gray beard. I'm the oldest one of all of you, so it's like
I got one going. I didn't shave.
you got like one little hair, like right here. My Just for Men is running out.
Because I trimmed all the gray stuff off before I went to a convention this weekend because I was working at one.
You have to. You got a little here, a little there. It's like, but yeah, I mean, look, being a prodigy of the '80s, there was no better music. I mean, we're not even talking about Billy Joel. We're not talking about.
Yeah, we haven't got there yet.
You know what I was about to
We're
win?
we're
Oh my
not
gosh.
talking about some of the most iconic music that came out
John.
at these times. How about the Bee Gees?
We didn't start the fire.
No, but in the middle of the night when I
The list is too long.
So
We're always forgetting something.
that's the thing is there was so much iconic music.
So much. And you have the Big Shiny Tunes albums there. Do you remember Awesome Hits? I have the very first Awesome Hits, and it's like Salt and Pepper, Let's Talk About Sex, Life is
Yeah, I remember that. So I only have 4.
Y'all ready for this?
2 because one's on cassette somewhere.
Oh, let's keep adding to the party.
Well, hang on a second. Did you guys have jock jams?
Yes, Jock Jams. Yeah.
You had y'all ready for this?
Da-na-na.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Welcome in, Brian. Hello.
All right, let's go, Pico train in the house.
Yeah. How you doing, buddies?
What's up,
Good,
dude?
good.
It's like having a mod meeting.
Oh my God.
Well, welcome in. What was your big 80s, 90s musical?
Michael Jackson.
Smooth criminal.
Let's see.
Pearl Jam. Have a whole list of stuff.
All right, so Michael Jackson, 80s or 90s?
80s.
All right, so we're talking Thriller, we're talking Bad.
Yeah, maybe like Simple Red.
Yeah, I've got mine on my mother's. I've got that album.
Which one?
Yeah, I love Smooth Criminal and Moonwalker. Like they were
So,
fantastic.
Dave, if
I'm
you missed the beginning, right here.
There it is.
Come on,
Sort of.
screen. I had to. There we go. Don't move, Sam. And this, boys and girls, it's VHS.
Wow.
Wow.
So we've talked about cassettes. We've talked about VHS. We talked about records.
Beta.
Crazy. Beta.
Beta. Laser disc.
I should have brought those down. But yeah, MJ, for me, it was 90s MJ. Smooth Criminal was
No, that one's good. Really good.
Ah,
Yeah. Just the opening scene, flipping the coin across right into the jukebox. I mean, tell me you didn't walk into a diner somewhere and threw a quarter to try and get it in the jukebox from across the
I
restaurant.
wish.
No, I grew up in New York where if you did that, they returned fire.
Nice. We had a place here called Lime Ricky's back in the day, and they had little jukeboxes on all the booths, and we used to sit there with a quarter and just try and do one of these, and yeah, never worked. But you see guys on TikTok all the time now doing the smooth criminal lean. They got the little board with the nail. They put their shoes in, and he was the best.
Hey, look, I tried it one time. I woke up in a hospital bed 3 days later and said, you know what? I'm obviously not that smooth.
That's really how you injured your Achilles recently, right? You were trying to pull Michael Jackson dance moves.
That is exactly right. I did it
in front of the castle.
Yep.
This one from the 90's. Macarena.
Macarena.
I just have all those old CDs.
Oh, yes. The Macarena. That was one. Well, we still keep the Macarena alive during our hockey streams, pulling it out from time to time.
How about a little Will Smith Wild Wild West?
Oh, see, I was never a huge Wild Wild West fan. I was more getting jiggy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a one for me.
Be careful because we'll break down a little.
Oasis. There's another one.
Oasis, yes. Wonderwall, Champagne Supernova.
I heard that song. I don't go downhill skiing, but my stepdad does, and I was at a downhill skiing place, and they played that at the bottom of the hill when people were going down it. It's like,
that's cool.
It's pretty epic.
Boys.
Gator Ghost says he had Led Zeppelin on Reel to Reel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know, your guys' ages and whatnot, but man, Stairway to Heaven for me, like grade 6, school dances, you're one of these. Let's keep the party rolling, man. I might have to make our screen bigger. Guys, welcome in Pierce.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Pierce? Welcome to the group.
Everyone?
Let's try and move some of these things around here.
Beastie Boys, by the way, we didn't talk about Beasties.
That's another good one.
And if you're going to break out Led Zeppelin, you can't just stop at Stairway. I mean, there's just too many to roll past. I mean, oh man, you're talking about and that's the thing is when you look at music today versus music back then, music back then destroys the music today.
Yeah.
And now I'm 700 years old.
Well, Dave, you and Pierce would get along swimmingly because he is very much into the same kind of hard stuff that you are. And
there's nothing in the world like Pantera. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Pantera is really good.
All right, Dave. Are you excited for Zach Wilde and Benante doing this tour? As someone who never got the chance to see Pantera, this will be my only shot.
I gotta tell you though, there were two ways that you could have seen something like it. One was Doom when Phil Anselmo went out and he recreated basically Pantera 2. The second version was Hell Yeah. Because Hell Yeah came out and you had Vinnie Paul on drums, you had Rex was on bass, you had this energy of Southern rock that was unprecedented. But there's nothing, make no misunderstanding, no one will ever replace Dimebag Darrell, no matter how it's played, no matter how it's done. I saw Pantera in concert 26 times. I was front row. I cracked my ribs at a concert because I got pushed against the rail because the mosh pit pushed into the rail. There's nothing. And by the way, that night that I broke my ribs, we left. We were the last people out because we were against the stage. And what was funny is we walked down 6 blocks. This was in New York City. And when we went down, we were walking past and everybody was hungry. We had pizza with Dimebag Darrell, Phil, and Vinnie Paul because they were having pizza there after the show. They were wasted.
Oh, yeah.
I got to we got one more person to bring into the mix. We're going to change it up a little bit. It's a party. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Cyndi Lauper. No, just kidding. Dallas.
Time after time.
Dallas, it's what's called Triton's turn tonight. It's Triton's turn tonight.
He challenged me, dude. So I was challenged to come in and talk retro.
If you fall, I will catch you. I will be
Well, like you all poppin' metalheads, what about the country? I mean, we're talking Dolly Parton, we're talking Kenny Rogers, we're
Yeah.
talking Garth Brooks, Randy Travis, Alabama. Where is my country?
Well,
gotta
you
talk
have
country.
Dust in the Wind. You're talking about one of the most formidable songs that made its mainstream crossover.
Yeah.
And then The Gambler.
Gambler. What about Every
Gambler.
Rose Has a Thorn?
There you go. Poison Every Rose.
Those are like ballads, though.
Poison.
I'll go grab my guitar right now. We can all go and I'll play it. You guys can all sing along. I mean,
Love
Mikey,
it.
what's going on?
Do
Welcome
it.
in. Love Pugs, welcome in. Yeah, we talk, Shania Twain. We talk Darius Rucker. He's country now.
Yes.
how about Aaron Lewis? I mean,
I was
he
just
went
thinking Aaron
Stained-
Lewis too.
He went Stained to country, and I mean, he puts out some of the best music on earth.
And I saw Stained with Korn right after the pandemic. They're actually pretty good live.
We
There's
saw
Gwen gets the award. She just said Charlie Daniels, Devil Went Down to Georgia. Best fiddle song ever.
Let me tell you something. The second version of it is also fantastic. The Devil Goes Back to Georgia. Another great song. So if you haven't heard that one, there's a rendition. There's a second version. Go Google it. It's an amazing.
Google it.
Oh yeah, and Dave, Korn actually covered that song really well.
So
Have you heard
you had Tool, which Tool and Korn together were a great show.
Tool's
I mean,
fantastic.
There were so many things back then. We're not even talking about Genesis, Phil Collins. I mean, I could do this all night. Go, Sam, pack a lunch. We're staying on for hours.
Yeah. I saw Phil Collins
Coming in the
live.
air tonight.
He was insane live.
Brian
So
Becker.
good. But still, the best live performance. I talked earlier about Meatloaf. Bruce Springsteen was the best live performance I think I've ever seen.
Brian is killing me right now. He's got the Buc-ee's background.
Nice. I'm sure they have a lot of live.
I only saw Meatloaf once, and that was when Meatloaf was talking about his new play that was happening, Bat Out of Hell. So he performed live on Yonge Street, and I was like front and center for that free concert.
Dude,
And
I saw
Meatloaf.
clips.
And they hired all the bikers who normally park up on Yonge Street anyway to come by and do like a parade for them. At his age, he was rocking it out. He had energy. It was great.
All right, everybody take one line in a row. We'll start with Sam. We'll go to me, go to Jonathan, and we'll go around and we'll do Baby, we could talk all night.
I've done enough singing.
Nowhere. Oh man, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. Come on, baby. We're talking music.
Objects in the rearview mirror appear close to the. Oh,
Oh,
I'm working 9 to 5.
kills me that song.
9 to 5, another great. I mean, that was a great movie too. I mean, if we're going retro, Sammy, fire it up for next week. Let's do retro 80s movies. I'm in. I can
We
do this all
may
day.
just have to.
Don't let all the
Jimmy
music-
Hopper, girls just want to have fun.
Man, I'll tell you what. Jonathan's got the merch. We can just bring him on. He'll hold up merch the whole night. Be like, hey, look. I
Well, I do. I got stuff from my convention. I can go on for days.
See?
Yes.
Oh.
You know what? And Jen, it was good. You say anything for love, but I won't do that. That was the first song I heard when I was a youngster that introduced me to Meatloaf. And I mean, that was another one of those, 7-minute songs.
Yep.
And I bought Bat Out of Hell 2 first. And I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Saw him live. And I'm like, I have to get Bat Out of Hell 1. And then I just started buying like any Meatloaf album I could find.
Okay, we're a picture show.
So I got to tell you the funniest story of all time about Meatloaf. I used to go to a prep school for in like 7th and 8th grade. And it was like, we're talking like I had to wear a suit and tie to school every day. And we're sitting
Oh, I see
in
a
art.
picture of that.
We're in art class. Now, keep in mind, I'm in 8th grade. My hair is halfway down my back in a ponytail because it had to be in a ponytail in order to go to school. So I have my hair all pulled back. I'm in a suit. I'm sitting in art class, and they're like, you have to draw something of iconic music. I drew the Bat Out of Hell album cover.
Nice.
The kids in the school are drawn like Michael Jackson. It's Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal, or Thriller, or this or that. I'm sitting here tracing out the motorcycle with the wings, and I'm sitting there like, yeah. And I'm like, come on, baby, go get some. And they're all looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? And when it came down to vote, everyone said it was the best drawing. They just didn't know who it was. So they let me bring in a boom box. Okay, so here I bring in my ghetto blaster and I throw in the tape and boom, off we go. And it was like, you got to be kidding. And you're talking 1988 and I'm playing it in a prep school.
Yeah.
Oh, it was insane. And everyone comes in like, what are we listening to? It's not like Pat Boone. And I'm like,
Were you wearing the rocker jacket?
I had to wear. Unfortunately, we had a dress code, so I had to stay in the code. So I had my little blue blazer on with my blue and.
That's like school rock, you know. Gotta wear that rocker outfit.
Yeah, they wouldn't allow that. I would have got.
You talk about the album, and that brings up a good point. Album art back then was crazy. There were so many hidden things in there. If you remember the, I think it was the Appetite for Destruction album had this, you know.
Hold on, I'll do it to you. I have it here.
You have it there, okay?
I have the artwork.
The lady on the inside.
Well, Bear Shark, fun fact. Do you know
He's got everything there. Everything's digital now.
how the typewriter sound?
The front cover, right?
So there was that one, but I think on the
But when you open it, it's in here somewhere. It's this.
Yeah. So
it's the crazy artwork.
Is it is the other page by
it's like this. Sorry, it goes this way.
Yeah. So there was the girl there. I don't know if it's in that version, but in the cassette, she was.
No, that's the only page I have for this one.
She was uncovered up top, and it was
kind of not quite. Which is good for the stream because I don't want to put nudity on the stream.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. But yeah, they had to edit it at one point and release an edited version of it. So yeah, album cover art was such a thing.
I think it was 83, 84 when Shout at the Devil came out. They had to redo that because of the panagram.
Well, think about Rodney James Dio. Everything he put out, the albums were insanely graphic, and they used to cut it back. The same with Metallica. I mean, you look at Ride the Lightning, you look at, Seek and Destroy, you look at any one of those albums that came out back in the day. If you wanted to sell albums, we walked into record stores, and it had to pop to you in order for you to pick that album up to listen to. But Dallas, what were you saying about the typewriter?
What do you know from 9 to 5? Do you know the typewriter sound?
Yes.
How they did that? Do you know how they did that? Okay.
I figured they used a typewriter.
The all-knowing Bear Shark.
I just assumed they used a typewriter.
No, read the liner notes. It was Dolly's fingernails. There's even a credit in the liner notes for Dolly's fingernails. That was the typewriter sound.
See, back in the day, and I'll go ahead and be the perv on the screen. It was Dolly Parton. She was hot. Like that's all I cared about was. It was like out of the three of them, who are you going to look at? Dolly Parton. She was beautiful, and it was just like like you would. How could you not be enamored with Dolly Parton back then?
It's just the word.
She was everything that glorified on screen, and that accent when you were growing up in New Jersey. Forget it. But I thought all Southern women talked like that. I thought that's the way it was. I just assumed it, and wrong.
But that's another good point when we talk about like the way music has changed over the years, and album cover art has changed over the years. So has the way the artists have dressed. Like it went from very conservative suit and tie to a little bit less conservative. We got into the 70s and 80s, and it was like full spandex bodysuits and all this stuff.
Twisted Sister.
Into the 90s, it started getting shorter.
Remember the cover album for Kansas? Their albums?
I don't.
So, like, they look like, I don't know if I got it here, but that's it.
Yeah. Those are incredible.
So they're really out. You don't get those today. Like, all the nice artwork.
Yeah.
It's almost like going to a museum. If you go to a museum and you look at the old paintings, it's the same thing. Lost artwork that we forget about.
Well, think about it. There's virtually no work that goes into becoming, famous today. Look at the idiot that's in the top middle. He goes on in Disney and walks around with a camera. And it's like, hey, wait a second. I got 3,700 people that follow me. Yeah. It's not hard to get a song out. It's not hard to do the things that you had to do before. It's not like you got to go play in a bar and earn your keep. You can literally go on TikTok, do a 3-minute breakout, get 100,000 people watching you, and that's just the way it goes. There's no artwork. There's no showmanship. There's none of that, which you
Well,
know,
there's American Idol, there's X Factor.
Well, and that was the
America's Got
Justin
Talent.
Bieber,
Justin Bieber's YouTube.
story, right? And sorry, Maria, for talking bad about Justin Bieber, but he went
No,
on.
keep going about that.
He did his little thing, and what's his face? Oh, Usher. Usher gets gets found by Usher, goes and meets Usher, performs, and Usher's like, "Yep, let's sign you." And all of a sudden, "Baby, Baby, Baby's the next biggest hit, in the world. So all it takes is something like that. But back in the day, when you didn't have the internet, and I lived it firsthand when I had my band, you're trying to get involved with Battle of the Bands, and you're grinding it out, and then you're going to play all these like shady clubs in the middle of nowhere, hoping your car is still there when you leave.
And you might walk out with $20.
Yeah, we're packing, 5 guys in a Pontiac Sunfire with all our instruments, and you're trying to find one person to see you to be like, I like them.
Dude, I owned a Pontiac Sunfire.
Sunfire was my first car.
I owned a blue Pontiac Sunfire.
Oh, mine was black.
Let's talk about Garth Brooks. He doesn't. That's why he's not on iTunes. He's sat one-on-one with the people at iTunes. Because they sell each song. He said, I'm an album person. I want to sell the whole album. Let me sell it as a whole album.
Yeah.
And of all artists, iTunes wouldn't let him do it. So he says, I'm out of here. You can't have my stuff.
Yeah.
So he is with Amazon. It says they sell CDs plus do streaming stuff. And so you can, but you buy the whole album. You don't just buy one of his songs. You get the whole album. That's just how he rolls.
Smart, because look, there's no like I'm not gonna go like 80s political, but it's like there's no integrity left with artistry or anything else. I mean, look at what Jonathan's pulling out. They're collector's items for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pulling out album covers that have artwork that someone paid thousands of dollars to have made, or they bought the rights to. This is stuff that just doesn't happen anymore, and it's sad because we literally can go out and do whatever we want, and we're just, it's one-hit wonders. There's one-hit wonders for a reason nowadays. Back in the day, if you were a one-hit wonder, it's because you screwed up. You didn't, your follow-up album sucked. You jumped the shark. You were literally wearing a brown leather jacket on a motorcycle, jumping over an actual shark. And that's a Happy Days reference for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. And the simple thing is with all the bands that we're talking about, there are some that were one-hit wonders. Like look at Milli Vanilli. You look at, which the lip-syncing kings of the world. But if you look at the ones that really had that one song where you're like, oh my God, that song is awesome. Wait, what happened to them? Their follow-up album was horrible.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice was ahead of his time. Let me tell you something. I've met that man. He is cool as hell. That dude was too far ahead of his time. If he had come out with that today, he comes out with half of the stuff he came out with, and his metal stuff of today is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He put out a metal album that would knock you in half. But like if he came out, like I saw Vanilla Ice and Snow, and I got to tell you right now, that was fantastic. But where he went wrong was he sold out to the wrong faction. He did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and everyone went, all right, so you're not serious. It was a joke.
Hey, Ninja, I love Ninja Rap. That was an awesome
Ninja,
song.
go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja.
I have all 3 movies of VHS in my mother's. It's still hiding in the back.
See? But that's the point at which you lose credibility. If you're not big enough and you jump over to that movie genre, like look at Ray Parker. Everyone knows Ghostbusters. Give me another song.
Where's
Ghostbusters
Mike
2.
Wheeler? He knows them.
Other than Mike Wheeler, nobody knows these songs. All right? So
We'll get to hear him when he comes to Epcot. He's coming to Epcot.
and everybody's going to be like the Baja Men. They're all going to be like, "Who let the dogs out? What's the next song?" I don't know. And
He just plays Ghostbusters for 15 minutes.
that's exactly it. His whole set's going to be 3 different mixes of "I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost," but you don't have those one-hit wonders. There it is, the Proton Pack. That's what I said. We need Jonathan on as our prop.
I've got everything.
Oh my
He's
god.
got it all. Amazing. You know who we haven't talked about at all today?
You have
And
the
he's
light
far
vest
from
and
now.
the shoes.
Yeah. Is Hammer? We haven't talked about Hammer. Can't
Hammer
touch
Pants.
this. Legit to quit. Man, not only did this guy sing, but he took fashion to a whole other
There's
level.
your pan.
And you also have LL Cool J too.
Oh yeah,
LL
Cool J.
We didn't even get into gangster rap. Like you're not talking about Biggie,
NWA,
Tupac, Biggie. I mean, the battle, East Coast, West Coast. You're talking about Death Row Records. Like, I mean, there was just so much that went on in our pop culture. It's ridiculous. And then because it led to Dr. Dre bringing in someone that is a showman like Eminem, whether you like him or hate him. We're not even talking about ICP, which I could talk about juggalos from now until the end of time. But, you know, if I told you all that I dressed up as Violent J for Halloween one year, you'd go, wait, what?
I believe it.
I have pictures of me as Violent J running around.
When
with a
we
hat.
want that picture.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
That'll have to wind up on an FP Nighttime Spectacular. Which
So here's a CD from 1998, and this CD has like Mary J. Blige, and it has like all the other like KRS One, all the old school big guys are on here.
Yeah,
Love it.
So cool.
Old school stuff you don't see anymore.
I
don't
love
think
that you have all of this stuff at like within reach.
My CD section's right down there. It's down the side.
All
Where I
right.
keep it.
We have somebody else who wants to get in the party, but I'm gonna have to excuse. I'm gonna have to excuse somebody.
All right, I'll leave.
All right, Jonathan. Thanks for hanging out. I love all your stuff. We're gonna have you come in again.
Prop Master KC, everybody. Whoop whoop.
Later.
Take it easy. All right, here is, and I don't know if this is Johnny Gaudreau or not because it's the Columbus Blue Jackets. So. Welcome in, Columbus Blue Jackets. Nope, there goes the Columbus Blue Jackets. I thought maybe it was Johnny Gaudreau. I got all excited, but we'll see if Columbus Blue Jackets, come on back in.
How about Eddie Money? He was another one.
Oh, 2 tickets to paradise. Spectacular.
The Eagles, Glenn Fry.
I was just telling the story of the Eagles to my 9-year-old the other day, explaining how they split up and they were never going to do anything. And we were talking about the Hell Freezes Over album because that was one of my favorite CDs of all time. Back when I lived at home, I had the glow-in-the-dark stars on my roof, and I put on Eagles Hell Freezes Over, and I would just lay there in the dark with the stars. It was like the perfect night.
There's nothing like when they did the reunion tour. I went and saw them, and when you're sitting there and you're watching 4 guys play the guitar perfectly in tune with one another, step for step, 12 string for 12 string. I at the time owned 15 different guitars. I pull out my Washburn 12 string and jammed with them. And I felt like I was there. It was like, oh my God, man, it was so much fun. The Eagles were incredible. Glenn Fry was just the bomb, and his solo stuff was incredible. But I'm going to throw out 2 people who we never talk about, and it's really funny. One is Don Johnson's album, and the other is Patrick Swayze's album.
Thank God you didn't say David Hasselhoff.
Who?
David Hasselhoff.
He's big in Germany.
Michael Knight.
Oh, yeah,
I need
Michael
you.
Knight.
Come on, buddy. I need you.
Baywatch.
So Patrick Swayze was fantastic. When you realize that he sang Hungry Eyes and Dirty Dancing, you're like, boy can
She's
sing.
like, no, she's like the wind. She's like
She's
the
like the
wind.
wind. Sorry.
He's like the wind.
He can
like,
sing.
but stop and think about Point Break for a minute and realize this man can play hockey, he can skate, he can dance, he can skydive, he can surf, he can sing. This man was like, if you're a dude, and let's be honest, thin, long hair, had it going on, you're a guy, you're sitting there going, Tom Cruise, he's an actor. This dude can play hockey. He can do anything. Like, Patrick Swayze was the bomb. He was incredible, and what an actor!
You go from Dirty Dancing. Was it Steel Dawn or Red Dawn? Was his action movie? He's so great, and then he goes for what was that one with the pants? That really terrible comedy. Oh my gosh, I got to look this up now.
Roadhouse, Coach. That movie.
Oh, Coach N.
That movie was so bad it was great.
Okay, I gotta find this movie.
Sweetie.
All right, well, Sam's doing that. Dave,
Yo,
very controversial topic in music. How do you feel about the new metal movement that started in '94?
what do you mean?
Did you like new metal, like Korn, Limp Bizkit, and all that? Slipknot?
There's a place for it, okay? Like I can get into some of the different mixes, like Linkin Park and
Love Linkin Park.
you know, like if you get into some of the things, like because you had crossover music. I don't mind crossovers because I used to have an old school 8 tracks, and I used to literally mix my own music. We were in a band, you know, so like when you had something that came out, because when we were doing 80s like garage band stuff like Metallica, the first time that Pearl Jam came out and you heard Even Flow, it changes you. You're like, whoa, hold on a second. Black Crowes, the first time they came out with anything, and everyone went, wait, we're going back to the 70s? The initial reaction was bad. It was like, I don't want to go back there. We just left it. Now you listen to She Talks to Angels, and I don't care who you are. You're driving down the road, the windows are up because you want to make sure nobody hears you, and you're belting it out at the top of your lungs. The 94 metal movement, Alice in Chains, especially, you know, like even new Alice in Chains, like Blue to Black or Black to Blue, Blue to Black. That album's amazing. Why? Because they went out and found somebody who sounded just like Lane. And it just comes down to certain parts of it were really good. Other parts were like, swing and a miss straight two. So,
So I found it. That Patrick Swayze movie,
yeah.
Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
John Leguizamo.
With John Luke Leguizamo, Tu Wong Fu.
So he literally did everything.
Yeah, see, then you start getting into a whole different place. But when you're looking at a guy like that, and then you look at like Don Johnson, who you're talking about Miami Vice back in the day, he releases an album, and he piped it out like it was like it was on fire. I mean,
The name of the song was Hearts on Fire.
it was
by the
Hearts
way.
on Fire, by the way, but you know, Hearts on Fire.
With Doors.
John
It was-
Schneider did from Dukes of
That
Hazzard.
was in Rocky IV.
An album.
Yeah, it was.
That was in Rocky IV. That montage, wasn't that when he was working out, training to beat Ivan Drago?
You're exactly right. And you have these iconic people who did these crossovers. So it was really a lot of fun. Like we lived in an era that the generation today doesn't understand because it's here today, gone in 30 seconds. You swipe left, swipe up, swipe right, swipe your butt, and the next thing you know, it's gone.
Yep.
And they're never going to understand what we had to go through. There was nothing like you hearing a song before one of your buddies, and if you wanted them to hear it, you were calling them on the phone and holding it up to the radio going, did you hear this? And it's literally like out of Back to the Future when he goes, it's your cousin, Marvin Berry. This is the sound. You were looking for this. And he holds it up to, that's what you had to do. And they don't understand.
It's so true. You look at, I was kind of mentioning before, the way the clothing has changed, and it got tighter and tighter, and now it's gotten smaller and smaller. And if you look at people who are posting clips like Olivia Rodrigo and all these people, Cardi B, and they're wearing, next to nothing. They're pulling out all the stops. I mean, they're making it huge. They're doing what they're doing, but they're, in my opinion, not doing it on their talent. They're trying all the circus tricks to bring it in. When you look at someone like Pink, right? Pink went through some hard times. She dresses appropriately, but man, she does her own Cirque du Soleil routine in the middle of her concerts.
And Madonna did too.
Yeah.
Madonna did too. Madonna was the queen of kind of not just coming and singing. She gave you a full theatrical performance.
So
whether you approved
which
of it or
brings
not.
up something that we never ever want to talk about. Today's music is fluff. In the 80s and 90s, you would have a controversial piece that pushed the boundaries, that made people think and talk. And if you were on one side or the other, it didn't matter. You could still listen to the music and it was still okay. Nowadays, it's, oh no, that's horrible. And don't get me wrong. You had people who would listen to like a Dio and be like, that's the devil's music. When you spin the record backwards, it says, Eddie is the devil. Eddie is the devil, And you had that, but you didn't have it to the degree that you do today. When she came out with, what was the one where Madonna, where she's
You're not. You're not.
I'm trying to
You're
think.
not
She's
helping
at the church and
Like a
she's
Prayer?
Thank you, Like a Prayer.
Okay.
Like a Prayer was one of the most controversial songs of the day.
Yeah.
And Justify My Love came out.
Justify My Love, everybody went, hey, wait, there's a table book I can read? Sweet. But, you know, when Like a Prayer came out, it was literally like one of those songs where should it be played? Can it be played? What is this? What is that? Then you get Beastie Boys, 86, Fight for Your Right to Party. You get these type of things where we were fighting for the right to party. I mean, it was in the title. But, you know, we lived in a different time. And nowadays it's, we sing about fluff and the music is fluff. Nothing pushes a boundary or a beat anymore. It's how disgusting can you be? How much can you show off? And how much money can you make on that particular download so that you can be relevant? And most everybody is a one-hit wonder that comes out nowadays.
Yep, it's so true. And you you talk about doing controversial things in videos, taking it back to Michael Jackson. I mean, there's so much controversial about Michael Jackson, you know, from post-career and all that. But if you look when he was a kid and when the story comes up about their father, Joe, and how he grinded it, perform. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you're hungry. You got to perform. I think it was my parents saw them in Vegas, like when they were Jackson 5, really little. And it was whatever it takes to make it big because we need you guys to succeed. But then one of the most controversial things Michael Jackson ever did, hey, Moorman, what's going on? You remember, I think it was at an MTV Movie Award. It was at some big award show when he came out with Lisa Marie Presley. And they did whatever speech, and they turned and they kissed, right? And that was it. They walked away. And the world exploded. Michael Jackson kissed Lisa Marie Presley. Oh, my God. Elvis is rolling over in his grave. All this blah, blah, blah. The world went bananas. And I don't care which side you're on with him. That was totally a PR stunt to get people talking. And it was simple. It didn't really do anything distasteful, and it blew up the world.
The funny part about it is because the other side of the coin was one side going, oh my God, Elvis is blah, blah, blah. And then the other side was going, well, it's the king of rock passing on to the king of pop. And it was almost like the approval. And, you know, there was so much because we didn't have anything else. So we read into everything. It was so much.
Well, Elvis was so controversial in his time.
Exactly.
If anybody has seen the movie that just came out, you even get more insight into that about how controversial he ended up actually was.
And when you talk about kind of generations and passing the torch, there was another Kiss at an award show that did the same thing. And this was Madonna and Britney Spears. They too, again, taking a page, something very, very simple that had never been seen on an award show at the time, right? And it really kicked down the doors for topics of conversation that at the time people weren't comfortable about having. So if you didn't have these moments, you know, things today would be very, very different.
So it's funny you should say that because you get somebody who was a comedian / rocker and you could put him in as an actor as well. But could you imagine Sam Kinison today performing anything, anywhere for anyone?
No.
Like
him and what's the dude from Bill and Ted?
George Carlin.
George Carlin.
730 Words was one of the greatest things that it was ever done. And his rendition of Stuff, but you couldn't do half of, I mean, Pryor today couldn't be Pryor. Murphy can't be Murphy. Andrew Dice Clay, forget it. He's not even allowed on TV. When Chappelle gets thrown off, you have these things, but you're looking at somebody who is another all-around performer, and you're talking about a short, fat dude. Okay, like you can't sit there and say Kinison's got long, stringy hair. He's loud. He's obnoxious. He's this. He's that. He's a big dude, and all this other. What category did he fit in? He was a singer. He was an actor. He was a comedian. And let me tell you something. There was nothing off limits.
So we can, you know, it's okay to put out musics like that song WAP and all that stuff going on. However, comedians can't go and do their shtick. It's offside. It's not.
Yes.
So that's why there's a big
Songs like that are horrible.
There's just a big issue with entertainment today where why is music okay to literally do whatever they want and it's not okay for musicians to, comedians to go and talk about and do an act, because that's all it is. It's an act, whether you're singing a song or doing a stand-up routine.
Agreed.
It's so bizarre. Look at Tattoo. Again, another one-hit wonder. I don't even remember the name of the song. It was actually a really catchy tune.
It was called The Plane. Sorry, wrong tattoo.
But same thing. They came out in music at the time in the rain in their schoolgirl outfits. They did their thing, and it got everybody talking. It moved the conversation. And maybe it's just in comedy, there hasn't been that opportunity because comedians are just looked at under such a different microscope. They haven't been able to move that conversation the way music has.
I think Chappelle's going to bring it back. I got to be honest with you. He's the one guy who doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, if you walk away from a $50 million contract and say, here's 2 fingers to the world, he's the guy who's not going to care. I'm hoping that he brings the conversation back. The simple truth is in 20 years, when we look back at this decade, we're going to go kind of like
Samuel Jackson.
When we're looking at the 80s and 90s now and we're going, like that was a free time. We were able to do this. It was a lot of fun. This is going to be viewed as a moment in time where we lost our friggin' minds. Yeah. And, a free country that you can't have freedom. It's just stupid. We're going to go back at some point. And it's, the needle always sways back and forth. And we're in the middle right now of this is nuts.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like, like when Chevy Chase is standing up on vacation going, this is crazy, this is crazy, this is crazy. We're going to sway back the other way at some point where because you can't have it, like you're saying, in music and it not be okay for a comedian to make the same joke.
Yeah. Like when I look back and specifically Eddie Murphy, because he was my comedian of choice. I loved Eddie. I loved Billy Crystal, Whoopi Goldberg, but Eddie with Raw and Delirious back in the day, I would listen to that on repeat, like my cassette, just side A, flip side B, back side A, nonstop. And you just...
Eddie Murphy's Bigfoot joke about the Bigfoot is probably one of the best things you'll ever hear. Goonie Goo Goo is one of the funniest sounds and parts of any show you'll ever listen to. When he talks about his aunt falling down the stairs, it is hysterical.
My shoe.
Yeah, my shoe. And when, like about the mom with the...
And that pushed the envelope back in its time. Like it was very controversial in its time.
Sure.
Yeah. How about when he takes the camera from the woman in the audience and takes it and sticks it down his pants and takes a picture and then the whole audience, he goes, no, you got to move this way. Okay, like these are people. Richard Pryor could not be Richard Pryor today. Yeah. And he would get, I mean, look at Dave Chappelle. How in the world can you tell this guy he can't tell the same joke he told 15 years ago? Yeah. It was okay 15 years ago. I mean, when he did the Race Olympics, it was one of the funniest segments you've ever seen anywhere at any time. Or when he did, and I don't know if I can say this, but
McDonald's.
It was whatever color we're allowed to say Bush. And he goes, he's like, and he's sitting at the table and he goes something like, he's like, what do you have to say about oil? And he's like, oh man, why did I pick him? It's one of the best scenes. Here's a guy who was making fun of everyone and everybody was okay with it. Yeah. It was incredible comedy.
Yeah. And Jonathan, I was going to say, that's the only kind of Richard Pryor we could have today is Superman 3 Richard Pryor.
Yeah. Right?
Which is not good to Richard Pryor.
Yeah. You could have Richard Pryor of today for today, which means no Pryor at all.
In the toy.
And, I mean, you might get away with the toy, and I'm not even sure you could.
No.
I don't think you probably get away with the toy today.
The toy,
no. Everything has to be so politically correct now.
No. But that's the thing is, at some point, we're all like, there's 5 people up here, we're all agreeing, and it's like, what are we talking about? We're talking about retro. It's Sam's theme of the day. I thank you for doing this because this is a lot of fun to talk about the 80s and 90s. It's almost like it's taboo to talk about. I almost feel like we're living Red Dawn.
Yeah, we started this. Gosh, was it about maybe a year ago? The fall, right, probably about a year. Okay. And when we first started doing this, the idea was, I have a bunch of stuff around my house. Clearly not as much as Jonathan, because that guy has everything. Bernie, what's going on? Blazing Saddles. Yeah, Blazing Saddles would not fly today. But when we started this, it was, I love cartoons. I love Transformers, Thundercats. I love old music. I love it all. And I wanted to be able to talk about this stuff with everybody. And when we put it on at first, we had a bunch of people come in and being like, yes, I love Transformers. I love G.I. Joe. I love my old plastic wrestling figures and all this. And we just started going on and on. We talked about different kind of movies. We talked about horror movies. We had a crazy conversation about horror movies, comedies. We did I think we did like 2 hours on Adam Sandler.
We did.
We literally went through his whole
We did.
career. I mean, we've just had so much fun going back and doing this. And I'm glad we were able to bring it back, at least for tonight, and do this, and hopefully, a couple more times throughout the summer. So thanks everybody for watching along and sticking around, coming in and sharing your opinions. This has been absolutely amazing. I will say though, last call, I said this like an hour ago.
Yes, like
last call, if you want to join us and get in on the conversation, definitely click the link into the pinned message. I'll drop it again. Definitely come in. We got one open spot if you want to join us. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like. If you haven't subscribed,
I was called. Gotta go.
All right, cool.
Tomorrow.
All right. Well, thanks, Pierce. Appreciate it.
Later, Pierce.
Thanks, guys.
So yeah, come and join us.
Does anybody, when you say Transformers, think of Clerks 2 when he starts having an argument about GoBots?
Yeah.
I've had that conversation way too many times myself, and we actually did have that same debate on the stream when we talked about Transformers.
See, and it's like, because I do the Randall all the time with and Bella laughs when I come walking into the room and I'll do the Randall. And she's like, she's never seen obviously Clerks 1 or 2 and 3 coming out. And it was like, I'll come in because there's a show that we watch and it starts off with the song Randall, is doing the Randall too. And it was just funny the way that the whole thing comes in. I mean, it's just, and when you hear him go Transformers, he's like, what about GoBots, you silly? And, it goes off on them.
Yeah. Columbus Blue Jackets, you're back. Are you here? Are you able to connect this time?
There's a trade. The Columbus Blue Jackets have traded for
Pillow Hands.
Come on, Samuel Jackson's here.
You're on mute, so if you want to unmute yourself and come on into the conversation. Nope, no dice. All right, next time, Columbus Blue Jackets. Next time, I think
the trade has been denied by Commissioner Bettman.
Yeah. Here comes trouble. Here comes trouble. Let's see if he knows as much about music as he does some other things.
Bernie
the Beast, the lag monster. He's getting everybody.
That's right.
All right.
The ogre is here.
The ogre is here.
I should step out, Sam. I have patience tomorrow. Good night, everybody. This was so awesome.
See you, Dallas.
Keep it right
I have no patience for anyone.
Bernie, how's it going?
Dallas out of the room.
So, Bernie, what kind of music do you listen to?
What was that, Sam?
What kind of music? What did you listen to in the 80s and 90s?
I was all about music with it pertaining to pro wrestling and pop rock. I mean, I was Poison, I was Bon Jovi, I was Motley Crue, I was hair band all the way. I mean, I'm still listening to Hair Nation on Sirius XM 39 now. I mean, that's my first go-to channel.
Right on. Actually, that's an interesting point when you bring up music of wrestling, because when you look at the 80s, there's some pretty huge theme songs, and I'm specifically, Hulk Hogan with Real American. If you're anybody that watched any wrestling in the 80s and you hear that song, immediately you're like taken aback. Or who was it? Was it the Beverly Hillbillies, the theme song that was also the theme song for Saturday Night Wrestling? It was like you hear that and it's just like bam.
Animotion by Obsession. I mean, you heard that for Saturday Night Main Event. That was goosebumps, adrenaline rush, everything. Amazing Jen, the beauty and the brains of Florida Car Explorers. I mean, Dave married way up for this. Whenever he starts moving and the doll just comes on out to get on all fours and headbutt somebody.
Yes. Yes.
So, hey, Sam, since I'm not on my channel, I guess I can actually tell everybody what you already know. Do you remember the hairband person that was in my stream during hockey?
Oh, yeah. I will leave it to you.
I'm not actually on my stream, so I can actually talk about it because I'm in no danger of it actually coming out. So during, do you remember what game it was? Because I don't anymore, but it was during, I think, round 2. I want to say it was game 1 or game 2. Believe it or not, and you guys will laugh, but John Bon Jovi was actually in my chat. And you're all going to say, no, there's no possible way. But I have told Sam, and Sam will tell you that I had John Bon Jovi actually in our chat for game. It was either game 1 or game 2. He was at his house. So he was at someone that I know's house, and he was watching our stream, and he was making comments. And as a matter of fact, one of my mods timed him out.
which is amazing. So here you go. Living on a prayer himself is coming in.
He was wanted dead or alive, and the mods took him out. They were like, so,
did you hear
story?
Did you hear the story of how that song was written? Because that was for Young Guns, or Young Guns 2.
Young Guns 2.
So did you hear the story of how that song came to be?
With him being an actor, yeah.
Well, so he was good friends with Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez and all this.
Yep.
And they went for like some 24-hour-a-day diner, like 2 a.m. after shooting. He spent the evening on the set for Young Guns 1. And he said to them, he goes, when you make Young Guns 2, I want to do the song for it. And they had some conversation. In like 5 minutes, he wrote on a diner napkin kind of the lyrics to the song and showed it to them. And it's so incredible. Like one of the greatest songs of all time, written 2 a.m. on a diner because he wanted to do it for a movie.
Which is awesome because he had finagled his way into the movie in the first place. Which, if you blink, you'll miss John Bon Jovi in that movie. But he's down in the pit when they throw Doc and Lou Diamond Phillips is in there. When they drag Doc and they throw him into the pit, the person who catches him is John Bon Jovi. So you really have to pay attention to it. But that's how he got into it. And they were like, we can't have you on there. You're John Bon Jovi. And he's like, no, I'll take anything. And that's how John got into the movie. And it was just really funny. But the lyrics being written like that, and if you actually listen to what he wrote, kind of makes sense that he was in a diner at 2 o'clock in the morning wasted.
Yeah. But it's those types of stories that I love hearing how guys kind of write their own music and how it comes out. But some of the other ones talk about Hogan's music. You could go down the list, whether it's Flair or Savage or JYD, the music of wrestling, and it really took off in the 90s, right? When you had like D-Generation X and that whole theme song, and with Triple H using Motorhead, all these guys, Shawn Michaels, the music of wrestling really took off to another level. I actually bought a lot of those CDs, I have to admit.
Well, I'll give you a little known fact,
background,
Sam, and that is concerning Real American. It was not written for Hulk Hogan originally. Hulk Hogan had his rock and wrestling song from his cartoon.
Right.
Real American was originally written for Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham, who was using Born in the USA before that. But then Windham and Rotundo left the WWF after they lost the tag titles to Valentine and Beefcake after Windham had a contractual dispute with Vince. So Mike Rotundo went with Danny Spivey. Windham went back to NWA, and Real American became Hulk's.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So Brian Wasco is sending subliminal messages to me with his background. He's been in front of Buc-ee's. He was actually the brisket on the board, and now it's a White Castle. And by the end of the stream, I'm going to have DoorDash. So, from Buc-ee's. It's like, hey, I wonder what that DoorDash would be. Be like $85 to get a...
Yeah. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good when it comes.
Like, as long as it's hot, I don't like if they put it in the bag and with like maybe a couple charcoal briquettes or something, briquettes, it would be great.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
But yes, that was really good in terms of talking about wrestling, because that music actually really had an impact on me. I know anytime if I hear Bret Hart's theme song come up, I absolutely lose my mind. I met him, God, many years ago. Actually, it was right after he punched out Vince McMahon. So up here in Canada, they're the sports network TSN. They do a gala for the Special Olympics. They do a big dinner and auction and yada, yada, yada. They have a bunch of athletes and people there. And so one year I was lucky enough to attend. Bret Hart was sitting at my table. So technically I had dinner with Bret Hart. And we were sitting there and I was like losing my mind, right? Because here's, as a Canadian, he was the Canadian hero. And he literally just punched out Vince. We didn't know what was happening. You'd go up to shake his hand and he would only shake with his left hand. And when he would sign an autograph, he would write WWF and then put a big X through it, and he'd write WCW.
That's funny.
And it was amazing. So I got pictures. I put him in a headlock. He put me in a headlock, and it was awesome. So anytime I hear Bret Hart's music come on, or a lot of the music from that era, it always, just takes you back.
The Hitman.
He's
bull song, Duran Duran. I freaking back team was song. I'll tell that down in project on. And WWE covers butcher. I'm about the entrance match, the whole presentation, being around the independent wrestling game for about 25 years now, beating guys like Brad, Mick Foley, RVD. I go down the list like I do too. Just being able to be around the backstage and get the stories and learn about the business through these guys is just being a sponge. They give you 2 eyes, 1 ear, and 1 mouth. Two eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, and 1 mouth for a reason. You learn by listening. You shut your mouth until.
Oh, we lost Bernie. But I get what he was saying, just being around these guys and learning from them. And yeah, Jen, Roddy Piper's, those bagpipes, when they hit. Oh,
I'm pretty sure Bella's upstairs going off the top rope. All I hear is my house shaking right now.
She's looking for
And it sounds like she just laid an elbow drop down on an American Girl doll.
nice. Well, it's actually a good segue, because I can say it here. I'm in the middle. We are probably going to stream SummerSlam. So if you're a wrestling fan, when that gets scheduled, you might want to come hang out, because we're going to do our play-by-play and reactions for SummerSlam. So if anybody is interested, keep your eyes posted.
This is my wrestler look, by the way.
It's pretty good.
Big
I'm
boss
intimidated.
Big boss man, Bear Shark.
There's shark in the house.
Nice. Well, listen, guys, we've been going over 2 hours. I normally try to keep these for an hour, but man, it's been awesome having you guys come on. Dave, thank you so much. I mean, it's been fun. You brought a whole different perspective to the show, which is
Me? I never do anything like that.
Dave always does.
never.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
He does in the parks too. It's fun.
Just because we're talking about movies and wrestling now, when you started on 80s music, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No. Well, it still ties to 80s music. I mean, listen, 80s, 90s, music is everywhere. It's everything. I think we've all agreed tonight going through it. There's no better time in music than it was then. You had controversy, you had feelings, you had conversations. Everything was happening during that time. And it's gone off the rails today to somewhere that's, yeah. The crazy train needs to turn around and come back to the time when music was fun and not so much just for the business. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to wrap it up. So I will say thank you to all of our guests for hanging out over the last 2 hours. Appreciate it.
Sammy, thank you for doing this. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. You know that anytime that you want someone to come on the screen and give you a wild perspective,
Jen will do it.
just let me know. And then if mine isn't wild enough, Jen will be happy. So.
All right. Yeah, we get the mild stories with you. We'll have to get Jen on for the crazy train stories.
You got that right. I keep it PG-ish most of the time, except during hockey.
All right. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Dave, Bernie, Brian. Appreciate it. All right. So there are our special guests. This has been so much fun. Guys and gals, thank you so much for making this comeback of Let's Go Retro a whole lot of fun. We're going to look to do this again. If you are interested or you have a topic you would love to get in on, leave a comment. When we close the video, leave a comment and say, Sam, let's turn back the clock and talk about X, because we would love to continue the conversation. And we'll do this again where we open it up and have guests come on and give their take on said topic. And as you saw, we might have started music, but we went to music, we went to comedy, we went to movies, we went to wrestling. Man, we went everywhere, and it's been so much fun. So from all of us here at the Samuel B12 Experience, I want to thank you. If you're watching it on replay, thank you for checking us out. Make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe, become a member. We had one today. Thanks, Pierce. We appreciate it so much. Oh, Bernie's saying, keep your eyes out. Blockbuster Trade promised might be coming in next week with Matt Kachuk. All right, we'll be watching for that, Bernie. Thank you. Christina G, thank you so much. Good night to you. Suzanne, good night. Thank you all for hanging out here. It's been a party. Time to get back to reality. Back to reality. Okay, stop singing. Anyways, from all of us, from Rick Ashley, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, U2, Madonna, Michael Jackson, and of course, Britney Spears. Have yourself a retro evening, and we'll see you real soon. Good night, everybody.